That's a story by K24's Apollo Kamau does actually form the basis of our discussion tonight during the State of the Nation interview. And joining us on set is Senator for Makueni County, Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Senator, karibu.
Asante.
Also, just to mention that we had extended this invitation to Mwingi Central MP Joe Mutambu, who's been really a fierce critic of Senator of Machakos, Johnston Mudhama. He was a no-show. Anyway, Senator, there's been so much speculation, there's been so much discussion, especially within political party circles, and especially those who are very keen on the 2017 succession politics.
Yes.
Narrowing down to Johnston Mudhama.
Yes.
Is there a fallout between Wiper Party leader Kilonzo Musyoka and Johnston Mudhama?
No. There's no fallout. In fact, the Sultan Ahmad rally, which I was in attendance, I think is over-exaggerated. The clip was not run in full because there's not much altercation. They just differed. Senator Mudhama, at that point in time, mentioned two things. One, he mentioned the governor of Makueni County and said that according to him, it's not feasible that the governor can field candidates against Wiper leaders. And he zeroed in on myself and then purported to be at the same time be in the same coalition or arrangement with Wiper. So he was of the view that he has two options. One, that Wiper fields candidates in all positions, including his, or alternatively, he allows that there will be competition. Anyway, so or folds his Muungano party. So
are you saying, Senator, that this whole issue has been blown out of proportion?
Absolutely. It has been blown out of proportion. Wiper has been on news for a week and a half. It's amazing.
Absolutely, because I mean, this is a key significant political development. Because listening to Kilonzo Musyoka speaking, I mean, he's always been a diplomat.
Yes.
What really triggered his tone and, the way he addressed that rally? Because he gave Mudhama a serious tongue lashing, which is uncharacteristic of him.
It's not a serious tongue lashing. We know he spoke in jest. When he says that we have given you a responsibility as Wiper, and because Mudhama spoke about his role as co-chair of Court Coalition, and what role they are going to play in terms of the presidential candidate. And therefore, in his response, the party leader says, we have given you a responsibility as a co-chair. And that responsibility is an onerous task. If you do not fulfill that responsibility to the satisfaction of these people here, the incident where your trouser was torn in Parliament will look like nursery school stuff, because these people will remove your trousers. It was spoken in jest. But by the time we finished the day, it had become news. It was big. It was big the whole weekend.
Absolutely, because it was out there for public to consume. But let's just put this in focus.
Yes.
Senator Mudhama, he has a very abrasive approach in terms of the way he deals with things.
Yes.
Could this be perhaps one of the things that is pushing some of the people who really want to work with Kilonzo Musyoka, the Wiper Party leader, pushing them away? Because you listen to some of the members of parliament and leaders from Ukambani region who bolted out from the Wiper Party, and I've seen Dikampa to Jubilee saying, you see, the kind of altercation that we saw, dress down. These are some of the things, this has vindicated us, that Mudhama has been this bully who's been responsible for causing this division within the Wiper Party.
I think everything is overrated, and people have created all sorts of excuses to either leave the party or have gripe, because Mudhama has only one vote in Machakos. He can only vote for himself and vote for his MP and a ward representative, and he doesn't have a role, as far as I'm concerned, in choosing who is going to be the MP or who is going to be nominated. Now, the fact that people have allowed this notion to run in Machakos or run in Wiper is a misnomer in its entirety, because there's no single person who ideally should have that role of dictating. Now, the people who have left on their own. I mean, Governor Mutula blames Mudhama for his woes. Mandeleo Chap is going on whether Mudhama is there or not. I mean, so it's not feasible for somebody to say, I've left the party because of an individual. It is possible, like in any other political party, that people have differences. By the way, even in Jubilee, there are more bullies in Jubilee in the name of even the majority leader and others who talk tough, who bully people into shape and say, I mean, Mudhama, strictly speaking, if you think about Mudhama and the people who are in Jubilee, and some of them in ODM, if you think about the people in ODM and the way they deal with people, you cannot look at Mudhama as a single unit and imagine that he's a source of people defecting.
So you're saying he's not the enemy within?
He's not. It's an excuse.
All right, just hold that thought there. The conversation continues. We need to go into a short commercial break. You're watching K24 Weekend Edition. We're having the State of the Nation interview. Sharp focus on the Kamba Nation. All this are pointed out to perceived fallout between Kilonzo Musyoka and Machakos Senator, that's Johnston Mudhama. We have Senator Mutula Kilonzo in studio. We're back in a moment. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the State of the Nation interview. This is K24 Weekend Edition. We have Senator from Makueni County, Mutula Kilonzo Jr. We're speaking about Kamba unity. This borrowing a lot from the events that took place more than a week ago at Sultan Hamoud, the perceived fallout between Wiper Party leader Kilonzo Musyoka and Senator Johnston Mudhama. So, Senator, let me ask you, because we had the National Executive Council meeting earlier this week. That's also on Tuesday, to be very specific. Yes. Senator Mudhama was conspicuously absent from that meeting. In fact, if anything, he was seen at the CORD presser, of course, featuring topping the agenda was the electoral reforms with reference to the IBC. So this lends credence to the assertions that his relations with Kilonzo, it's not rosy.
I tell you, I mean, the media can run a story about anything. You know, Mudhama is a co-chair for and on behalf of Wiper. So he was speaking on behalf of Wiper. In fact, it would have been much worse had Mudhama attended the NEC meeting and then Orengo addressed the CORD coalition press conference alone. Now the fallout would have been much worse. That Wiper and CORD have a fallout because only Orengo is seen at the forefront. Remember that Mudhama sat with me in the Joint Select Committee. And these matters IBC are things that are bothering us. So between the two, and the media created this story that Mudhama was a subject of discussion in the NEC meeting. That NEC meeting, he was not a subject of discussion. He was not even discussed. It was not an agenda. And the NEC meeting had been called 2 weeks prior to the events. But since the media wanted Wiper to be to get the attention for 2 weeks, I can tell you, we're having a time of our lives.
Now, I mean, Senator, listening to Kilonzo during his tour in Taita Taveta County, and he openly says, and this is his quoted, that we disagree with Mudhama at times. And that really does point to actually an admission that there are odds.
Come on, I mean, my party leader disagreed with my late father until his death. I mean, it's not unusual that you have political parties. It's only that, you know, the democracy we have in Wiper It's not the same in other political parties where people fight in boardrooms. People do it openly. We tell our party leader we disagree with you. We tell him on his face when people are listening. We don't hide it. And therefore, there's nothing unusual about Mudhama having a position that is diametrically different from that of the party leader. They had a diametric difference in the election of the governor of Machakos County. They are different candidates or disagreed on who should be the candidate. That is not unusual. What I'm simply saying is this, is that Mudhama occupies a position sent through Wiper. If Wiper had no confidence in Senator Mudhama, he would not be a co-chair. This person who he replaced was Senator Musila, who thought he wanted to continue his work as chairman of the party, and Mudhama to sit as co-chair of the CORD coalition. So it's overblown. It's like a hot air balloon.
And I'm just listening to Kilonzo speaking, and of course he expressed his dissatisfaction at how the Senator Mudhama, he's not been really pushing for his candidature within the CORD talks. I mean, there's that impression that he created, and of course this is quite a pointer to that.
It's 8 months to the next general elections. And I can tell you everybody feels frustrated. And it's possible that even the party leader could be frustrated about something. But the point is that in November 2016, there's no reason whatsoever to cast aspersions on who is going to be the presidential candidate. The reason is as follows. One, we don't have a method of choosing that presidential candidate. This has not been agreed. Two, you do not have the actual presidential candidates. As we speak, they could increase, they could reduce. So therefore, it's not, you cannot actually say that you have not pushed for me. Because if Mudhama was to push for Kilonzo, and Orengo pushes for Raila, and Dr. Eseli pushes for Wetangula, then you would not have a coalition.
But he's his rep there. He should vouch for him because he's saying he's done very little to push for his candidature there.
This is a CORD coalition management. It's a CORD coalition management. Although he's a representative, he's not the mouthpiece of Kilonzo Musyoka. He's not supposed to sit there and every time he rises to speak, he says the only candidate for the CORD coalition is Kilonzo Musyoka. If that was the case, if Orengo was to do the same, if Dr. Eseli was to do the same, my friend would have a crisis. But for the CORD coalition management to work properly, to that end, all of them must ideally, even if they have an interest through their political party, ensure that there is a robust discussion as to who is going to be a presidential candidate without putting their cards on the table. The minute the card is on the table, that's it.
And so with these differences that we are seeing,
yes,
perceived or real, don't you think then it could sort of like complicate the process of picking, CORD's, presidential flag bearer? I mean, the talks itself.
Let me tell you, picking the flag bearer is not going to be a walk in the park, my friend. And you don't expect it to be easy. People are not going to smile at one another. People are not going to hold roses or white handkerchiefs. This is going to be bare-knuckled. This is going to be a resolution that is going to have far-reaching consequences on the coalition partners themselves, on their ambitions. It's going to have repercussions on the various constituents, if it's from Wiper zones, ODM zones, or Fort
So we're looking at a fallout, possibly?
You're not looking at a fallout, my friend. I'm just simply saying it's not an easy process. If it was easy, we would put the cards on the table, do pinky, pinky, ponky, and would have the candidate. But that's not the way to do it. Some of these discussions cannot be done where you and I want to see them. Because if they are done where you and I want to see them, we have a coalition we are fighting with. That coalition would like us to split. And therefore, what I'm simply saying is that for the public, it's fair they understand that this process is going to be cantankerous. You are going to see that sort of thing. You're going to see people talking. But the fact is that unless they sit together quietly and discuss this quietly, then you're going to have problems.
So don't you think then all this that has been happening is very critical, especially for addressing issues in terms of internal party democracy within Wiper?
Yes. Also
just a reassurance, especially for aspirants, seeking for elective positions within Ukambani region and those across the country using the Wiper ticket. And of course, even yourself, a voter support base. Don't you think it's important for this issue to be addressed with the seriousness and the urgency it deserves, because it's creating a different impression?
The fact is that by the time we are doing our National Delegates Conference on 10th of December, we are going to announce our new elections board. And we are also going to announce our appeals board, a two-tier system of ensuring the nominations are free and fair, provided we sit there as national officials, me being one of them. We're going to insist on a process that accommodates everybody from Turukana to Lunga, from Moyale all the way to Marsabit. The fact is that without internal party democracy, you're not going to build a political party. One of the reasons that Senator Mudhama and I, representing Wiper, agreed to the proposal of no party hopping during the discussion was to help a party like Wiper, because a party like Wiper will benefit from everybody's fallout. So therefore, the fact is that everybody should rest easy, that no single individual will have a role in pinpointing or handpicking candidates for purposes of the general elections.
As was the case in 2013.
As the case was 2013, and that is the reason why, for example, Machakos County, we ended up losing as many seats as 5.
So the sources say that, Johnston Mudhama is considering defending a seat on an ODM ticket. He's been unhappy with Kilonzo Musyoka. This looks like it could really jeopardize Kilonzo Musyoka's political future.
Not at all. I mean, that is another rumor that is going to keep Wiper in the news for another 2 weeks, which is good for us. We are happy with this sort of publicity. But the fact of the matter is that Senator Mudhama, being a founder, co-founder, and the people who are instrumental in putting Wiper where it is and profiling the party in Ukambani and other areas in the country, and you know we have seats all over the place. The fact of the matter is that to expect Mudhama to go to ODM is like expecting me to go to PEAK or something. It's not going to happen. The fact of the matter is that differences amongst our officials or leaders is apparent and can be there. They're in a place like Mkitui, you find our chairman has differences with the person who is a Wiper member and a governor.
And absolutely, because
that is called democracy, my friend.
But that also points us to a big problem, because let me give you an example. We have Machakos governor, Alfred Mutua, bolted out of Wiper. He's Maendeleo Chapcha. Governor Malombe, he's warming up to Muungano.
Yeah.
You have 10 MPs who have left Wiper.
No, they are not 10. They look like 10, but they are not 10. That's what I'm saying.
But in reality, I mean, that does point out
they are
to...
not 10. When the media look at Kamba MPs, all of them are supposed to be in Wiper. But they were not in Wiper. Some were in Sisi Kwa Sisi and others. Others, Tip Tip and others, small little parties. The fact is that I think that if there is a place where there is democracy, to the extreme, is a place like Ukambani, because the people are elected across party board, party affiliations. You find there's a person from PIC in Ukambani, CCU, you have Muungano, and many others. And others have been formed, and even Maendeleo Chap. There's some element of democracy. But for purposes of Wiper, being the majority, the idea is to be as accommodative as possible. 2, Wiper should not be seen to be restricted to Machakos County or Kitui County or Makueni County. But what you're simply saying is that if you claim that your base is Ukambani generally, then you should not be having small little affiliate parties all over the place. Briefcase, stool parties,
but just to allow for democracy to thrive and give people variety of choice. Because then if you say we consolidate this, power to only one location, then that presents a serious challenge here.
By the way,
yes,
I have no problem with 40 political parties, even in Ukambani. There's no issue at all, because that is why we fought for our constitution, Article 38. What I'm simply saying, that for purposes of profiling our party leader, Stephen Kilonzo Musyoka, as a national leader, as a party with the following, it does not make logic or any sense in heaven or earth that you can have people affiliated from every political party on earth, and then a party leader, and then them say, we support you. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. It can't happen. For democracy to thrive, you must build a political party. And for him to be profiled as a leader, capable of becoming a president, and he can be then he ought to have a movement that is persuaded that he has a following. That is the point.
All right. And just looking at the bigger picture here, if you just listen to one of our contributors to that piece done by Apollo Kamau, there's something he said about the CORD coalition setup. ODM is CORD.
CORD is ODM.
Absolutely. Without ODM, there's no CORD coalition.
Yeah. Well, the narrative, that again, is like an old wives' tale. You know, that story that is told to children every day before, it's like a lullaby. It's not possible. The CORD coalition is Wiper, Ford Kenya, and ODM. Signed an agreement, beautiful document, which I keep and everybody has. You cannot say, and that is the sort of thing that is used by our enemies in politics, that without ODM there is no CORD. They don't think without Ford Kenya, without Wiper, there is no CORD. Strictly speaking, without Wiper, you cannot have CORD. You have ODM on its own, you have Wiper on its own, and you have Ford Kenya and all the affiliate parties on its own. When you speak out about CORD, it's a misnomer to say without ODM there's no CORD. The same applies if there's no Wiper, there's no CORD. Because it's a coalition. The minute one of them pulls, there's no coalition. And you know, those parameters are available. But I've said this before, that come the next general elections, without another CORD coalition agreement, there will be no CORD. It's that simple.
All right. So even as we bring this conversation to a close, I just want to get very quick your concluding remarks here, based on two questions. Are you going for the gubernatorial position in Makueni County? And the differences regarding this. There's a gentleman called Andrew Mulwa. He's CEC for Health. He's angling to challenge you in the position for Senate. Is that a difference that perhaps then could have informed your view with Governor Kibwana?
No. What can I say? You know, I have said this before, and I hope I can repeat so many times for people to understand. The seat I occupy as senator does not belong to me. It belongs to the people of Makueni. Any person who wants to contest to become senator of Makueni should do so. It is welcome. Number two, the seat of governor of Makueni, same, is open to every person who wants to contest, including me, if I so wish. For now, I have not mentioned and I have not stated, and for reasons that I say are both personal, and two, from my understanding as the oath that I took as senator, I still have a role of ensuring that Governor Kibwana and his county government work. That means that I must be far removed from the contest of unseating him for now until the time is. We have not even done a budget, the next budget. The recommendations have just come. So what would happen now that I am sitting as senator and I'm angling for a seat at this point? Every time I point a question, they say the reason you are doing so is because you want to become governor. And therefore, my own position, and a lot of people don't agree with this, but it is a position I am going to hold until the right time comes, is that for as long as I am sitting Senator Makueni, one, I will hold the county government responsible for its work in terms of oversight until the right time comes. Two, any person who has an interest in becoming a senator, a governor, or any other position has a right to do so, because there's no seat that belongs to an individual.
But you don't rule out the possibility, Senator.
Possibilities are possibilities.
All right, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., thank you so much for joining us on the State of the Nation interview.
Thank you.
On K24 Weekend Edition. It's great to have you here for the first time after a very long time.
And make sure Mutambo comes again. Yeah, there's no reason for him to run away from an interview like this one.
All right, the Mwingi Central MP must be watching this. And of course, that's a call from the Senator. He's inviting you for a duel here on K24 Weekend Edition.